guys, today we're cooking with Cowboy and we're gonna make stout brownies. These are super rich, dark chocolate fudgy brownies. They've got 2 layers. First, we're gonna make the brownie layer, then we're gonna make that stout fudge layer, and to top it all off, we're using hickory wood chunks to give it that smoky flavor. Let's get started. First, we're gonna melt 1 stick of butter right in a sauce pot, and we're gonna put this sauce pot right on the grill. We're gonna use this just like a stovetop. We've got our heat, we're gonna put the butter right on top, and then we're gonna close the lid down and let that melt. While the butter's melting, we're gonna get our brownie batter ready. I've got a cup of sugar here and a half a cup of dark chocolate chips. Once the butter's melted, we're gonna pour it right on top so that this gets nice and soft. This is going to help all these chocolate chips melt. You want to whisk it right away, but don't. Just wait just a minute, let it get nice and warm. It's going to melt the sugars. We're going to go ahead and close the grill lid because we want to set that for 350 degrees so it's ready for us to cook our brownies. All right, the hot butter has helped melt these chocolate chips. You can just see how everything is nice and soft. All this dark chocolate flavor is going to be incorporated into our brownie batter. So let's keep adding the rest of the ingredients. I've got a half a cup of dark cocoa powder, a half a cup of flour. I'm just using all-purpose. Get that mixed in. I'm adding the eggs last because I would like them not to overcook in this hot butter. We want to let them cook as the brownies bake. It just calls for 2 eggs. Oh my gosh. Cocoa powder can be finicky. That's why I love cooking outdoors, because I don't have a mess to clean in the house. Okay, now we're gonna add a 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder. This is just gonna help it rise just a little bit. The eggs also do that. And last but not least, we're gonna add some stout. If you're not familiar with stout, it's a darker beer. It has more of a chocolatey flavor, which makes it go perfect with these brownies. We're just gonna add a couple tablespoons for flavor. If you don't want to use stout, you can use something like coffee. You could make these even with just vanilla if you prefer. But I think you'll find that the stout gives it a nice little tartness that really complements the dark chocolate. Great, now we're ready to put it in the pan. All right, I have an 8-inch square pan here. I've lined it with foil. That's gonna help us later when we take this out. To prep it, you just wanna add a little bit of cooking spray. Make sure you get the sides and the corners and the bottom. You can also use vegetable oil. And then scrape this batter right into the pan. These are gonna be a little bit thinner brownies, but that's because we're gonna add a thick layer of fudge right on top after they bake. Use that spatula to get it into every nook and cranny. All right, then one thing I like to do is just give it a pound. Just help it level out. All right, I've got the brownie batter in the pan, and now it's time to grill the brownies. You want to cook it at about 350 degrees over indirect heat. With the hasty bake, I've lowered the coals so they're much lower from the grill grate. That's going to help it so that the heat's not directly under it. But I've also set this up for a 2-zone fire, which you can do on any charcoal grill. I've got the coals on the left side, and there's fewer coals on the right side. That way we're not going to burn the bottom of the brownies. I'm going to set the brownies right on this side of the grill grate. We've got that hickory wood chunk on here. As I close the grill, that wood chunk is gonna really start to smoke. It's gonna add to the flavor of these dark chocolate brownies, and they're only gonna take about 25 to 30 minutes to bake. All right, it's time for the final step of these stout dark chocolate brownies. Time to make the fudge. I've got some heavy cream here, and then we're also gonna add more of this dark stout beer, just a couple tablespoons. Give that a little mix, and we're gonna put this right on the grill, right next to the brownies. All right, the brownies are almost done. I'm gonna add this right over the direct heat. Let that cook for about 30 to 60 seconds until it gets nice and warm, and then we'll pour it on the chocolate chips so they get melted. All right, these should be nice and warm. I'm gonna pour this right over the chocolate chips. Just like earlier, don't mix it right away. You want those chips to really absorb that warm cream and that stout, and then they'll be super melty, and we'll give it a stir. All right, while the chocolate chips are melting, it's time to pull these brownies off the grill. They've been baking for about 25 to 30 minutes. A good way to know when your brownies are done is to stick a toothpick in it. If it comes out clean, then you know that they're done. All right, let's mix this up. I'm just using a spatula here. You can see it's all starting to melt. That's because of the hot cream. and the hot stout. All right, you can really see this starting to come together. Just stir it until it's nice and well blended. That looks great. We got a little hickory flavor in there as well because we heated that cream and stout right on the grill with that wood chunk. Now we're gonna spread this. Remember, your pan just came off the grill, so it's hot. So grab yourself a heat glove. Just again, get all over it, kind of like icing, but when this gets nice and cool, it's gonna be super fudgy, like a truffle on top. All right, and for the final touch, a little bit of flaky sea salt, just to give it one more little note of flavor. Okay, we're gonna refrigerate these for about 30 minutes, and then we can slice into them. Again, these are dark chocolate brownies. They're not your traditional sweet brownie that a kid might like. These are the brownies that you're gonna wanna eat with a big glass of robust wine or a glass of stout to go with it. They're super rich, a little bitter because they're dark chocolate, but extra special because they've got those notes of the hardwood briquettes as well as the hickory smoke. Okay, the brownies have come out of the fridge. They were in there long enough to cool. The reason I line the pan with foil is because it makes them so easy to take right out. And you just peel down the foil, and we're gonna cut these into squares, just like that. This top has gotten nice and hard. It's really almost like fudge. And you can cut these whatever size you want. You can do like 9 big squares, or you can do little ones. I usually like to do about 16, so I'll cut it in half. Try to be as even as possible. I like to use a really long serrated knife. That helps me get through it a lot easier. They're so thick and decadent. Cut it in half, just cut that in half again. And you can see the sea salt that we put right on here too. That adds a nice little finish to it. All right, and then just turn it this way. Do the same thing on this side. Right in half, then in half again. All right, and our finishing slice. All right, let's take a look. Look at those 2 thick layers. The bottom layer is the brownie. That's the dark chocolate brownie with the stout beer, and we also added a Cowboy hickory wood chunk that adds another element of flavor that makes it so delicious. Then this top layer is that stout fudge with the heavy cream and the dark chocolate chips. Little sprinkle of sea salt for just that little hint of finishing touch, and this is perfect. There you go, guys. You can make brownies on the grill, and not just any brownie, really decadent brownies. I'm gonna take a bite. You guys need to try out this recipe. You can find the whole recipe on our website. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe. And as always, keep cooking with Cowboy.